Today we're going to be making Dolly's Southern Style Banana Pudding Cake. So when I was back in Minnesota, I actually saw this banana cake mix from Dolly at a grocery store in Minnesota. So I wanted to make this and do a review of the recipe. And the recipe on the back of the box I'm going to be using is the Favorite Banana Pudding Cake by Dolly. So let's give it a try. So we're going to start off by taking our cake mix. We're going to dump that into our bowl. And then we're going to add a half of a cup of melted butter. And we're going to go ahead and mix that for a little bit before we add our eggs and milk. Add a little bit of milk. We're going to add 3 tablespoons of pudding. We added 1 cup of milk, a half a cup of butter, 3 tablespoons of a vanilla or a banana pudding mix. So we're going to start adding our eggs to our mix. I'm actually going to wipe down the sides of this bowl, and then we'll continue mixing it until it's all blended up. And then we're going to pour it into a greased pan. This just has a beautiful glossy texture. So I'm going to go ahead and get my pan now. So all I'm going to do at this point is just pour this right into my bundt pan. And like I said, this is actually a really neat texture to this cake. I really like it so far. And it smells amazing. What's interesting is I make a cinnamon roll. It's a Cinnabon cinnamon roll, kind of a copycat recipe. And I always add pudding to the dough and to the frosting. And it just makes the most amazing cinnamon rolls. So I'm hopeful that this is going to be, a really good cake. It sounded delicious. It's amazing how much extra cake mix and different kind of things you can get by scraping the bowl and scraping your utensils. All right, all I'm going to do now is just kind of even this out a little bit, because we want to get it the same height when it's baking, because it's kind of a thick mixture. This is not a real, watered down mixture of a cake mix. Sometimes they kind of pour into the pan. This one's not like that. All right. So what I'm going to do now is throw it in the oven. I've got a preheated oven. It's preheated at 350 degrees. And we're going to bake this for about 30 minutes, but we're going to check on it. I'm going to set the timer for 25 minutes and we'll check on it in just a little while. The cake is out of the oven, and there's absolutely no way to describe how amazing this cake smells. My whole house smells unbelievable. So I took my bundt cake, I used a serrated knife, and I just cut it in half so that I can put my pudding mixture down the middle. And I think it worked out just fine. I'm just continuing to let it cool for a little bit, and in the meantime, it tells you to make the pudding mix. So the pudding mix is real easy. It's just a cup of milk and the rest of the box of pudding that you had left over from making the cake. So it says to just whip it up for about a minute, and then I'm going to stick it in the refrigerator until my cake's cool enough, and then we're going to put this thickened pudding mixture right on the top of the cake. So the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to take my cold pudding mixture and I'm going to put that all along the inside of my cake. And then I'm going to put the second layer of this bundt cake right on the top of it. All right, so let me put the top of the cake on it. Okay, so I've got the top of my bundt cake. I'm just going to layer it right on top. Just like this. There you go. Now I'm going to get working on the frosting that goes over the top of the cake. It's really easy and it looked really delicious. So for the frosting, we're gonna add 1 cup of heavy whipping cream, and we're just gonna beat this on high for 3 minutes. And you're gonna do that until stiff peaks form. We'll do it a little bit longer. We don't wanna cream it into butter. I think that looks good. So what we're gonna do next is something I've never seen done on a whipped cream frosting before. But what we're gonna do now is put our pre-made vanilla frosting inside of the whipped cream, just like this. And it says all we're gonna do is blend this with the mixer for about 10 seconds on low with the whipped cream. All right, so let's see how that works. This is called a whipped cream frosting. I've never made this before. This is very interesting. All right, so let's frost our cake. So we've got our cake, and all we're gonna do is put our whipped cream frosting right over the top. I'm gonna put a couple little scoops of whipped topping on. This is really a delicious looking cake. I just can't hardly wait to try it. I'll tell you what, if this goes really well, and we like this a lot, I may make this for my daughter-in-law's birthday next weekend. You know, this probably would be really beautiful with a, you know, if you did have a couple of round pans. So this is something really good to know about. You know, if you're going to a party or any kind of a family get-together, this just seems, it's almost like okay, I know that the recipe name is banana pudding cake, but I'll tell you what, it just smells like banana pudding. That's why, I guess. And I don't know about you, but I love banana pudding. It's so good. Now I have a banana pudding recipe that I made, I believe it was after Christmas. I'm gonna link it above. It's probably the best banana pudding recipe that I've ever had. It was absolutely delicious. This makes a lot of frosting. Now I used a small can of whipped topping, you know, the cream cheese frosting. But if you use a big one, I think that would work too. This is very light and fluffy because of the whipped cream. Because my grandkids will be trying this tomorrow, I'm not gonna put any bananas on it because sometimes they turn brown and I don't know how long I'll have this cake. So I'm probably gonna leave the bananas off. I'm gonna put some vanilla wafers on it, but when I make a piece of cake for them, then I'll put some fresh banana on it. I mean, there's nothing worse than get a big bite of brown bananas, but they just don't last long, whether you put them in cake or pudding or what have you. It's just not a... All right, I'm gonna give this a little decoration by just moving my knife around the top of the cake. Just like that. All right. Kind of flatter on the sides, like that. All right, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put some vanilla wafers right over the top of this cake. Now you can crush them if you want. I'm not gonna do that. I actually wanna have them kind of sit up and make a decoration. And this whipped cream is so, you know, so full on the top that it makes this really easy. There you go. There's your banana pudding cake. Dolly's banana pudding cake. So we're gonna have to put it in the refrigerator for about 15 minutes and then we're gonna cut a slice of it. Our cake is done. It's rested in the refrigerator. I can't wait another second because I'm dying to try Dolly's, what'd she call it? Dolly Parton's Southern Style Favorite Puddin' Cake. So let me show you how it looks. All right, so we're just gonna cut a little bite of this. Now I haven't had dinner yet, so I'm just gonna try a little piece of this and I'll let you know how it came out. Well, doesn't that look beautiful? There's some pudding in the middle. And it looks so good. Look at that beautiful cake. So let's give it a try. Well, I'll tell you what, if it tastes as good as it smells, we're in great shape because the smell in my house, it's phenomenal. And I'm not kidding. All right, we're gonna take a little taste of this. Probably the best cake I've ever had, ever. Delicious. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna give my daughter-in-law a piece of this tomorrow. If she likes it, I'm gonna make her some for her birthday next weekend. So this is so good. Oh my gosh, it's delicious. I'll do one more bite because I might have been tricking you. I have never made whipped cream, frosting with whipped cream and mixing frosting together in the mixer. It's so light and fluffy and sweet and delicious. The pudding in the middle, the banana cake. Oh my gosh, this is like an A++++++. It's so good. So give this cake a try. You will not be disappointed. It is so good. So thank you for joining me today. If you are not a subscriber, subscribe to my channel, give me a like, a thumbs up, and definitely try this cake. It's so good. And I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. Thanks a lot, everybody, and have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.